Hello, beautiful star family. I'm going to bring the candle in a little closer. Let's get cozy. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Blessed last day of the moon cycle. I am a Scorpio moon. I have had so many magical things happen to me this year, and it has been one of the toughest years of my life. And it really was more like 2024, 2025. I felt like they were kind of intertwined with so much loss and gain as well. Just so many things that I had to experience and go through and understand. So I'm excited to share some gifts with you guys today. I know you guys love that, and I was very blessed to have 3 of my soul sisters who are like, I want to send you something, because as you guys know, I always say if you want to send me something, you can send it to Port Townsend, Washington, general delivery, but you have to let me know, because they don't send me, I don't have like a, they only hold it for 2 weeks. But if you would like to send me something, and obviously, if you try to send me gross or something blah, blah, if you like found your way here, I don't know why, but this came in, it will never make it to me, just so you know. Spirit will make sure that never makes it to me. So if it's a nasty letter or it's interesting how things happen. Anyway, but I send you love, whoever is thinking that. It feels like a stranger. But it could also be somebody that I knew that feels like a stranger now, So I was very excited when they told me that they were sending me packages, because they are incredible gift givers and I love receiving them. But it was interesting because one of them, from one of our all-stars, Jess, who sent me this shirt. Thank you, Jessica. I wanted to wear this shirt in honor of you. And also I wore this shirt on my birthday, and I can still feel the energy of it, because I literally wore it that day, and I wear layers and whatever. And not that I need to explain myself. It's not sneaky. But I literally this is my little dress underneath. Can feel the loving energy still on my clothes from my magical birthday, that because of a lot of you guys contributing, and definitely you, Jessica, thank you for sending that gift a few days before my birthday in case I needed it, because we did, and we had the most magical time. So I'm sorry that your box didn't arrive, but like you said, there must be something. Who knows why it had to take a trip here and then make its way back. We had a communication, it didn't happen. And I feel like Spirit's showing us so much right now through how to, ground ourselves every day, and how this scattered energy has got us all a lot of us very tousled. So you're not alone there, Jessica. I too had a lot of weird things happen. I have ridiculous amounts of bruises on my body from things that, I was moving too quickly, or I didn't, I want to do things my own way. And not flowing with Spirit, and it sucks, and I'm with you on that. And can we just say, also, because of you, Jessica, I bought the most magical little mug. I've got some peppermint tea in here, so cheers, you guys. Cheers. Yum, yum, yum. To my birthday, the holidays, and one hell of a year. Because in real time, today's December 18th. And when you add it together, because December is 12, which is 3, and 18 is 9. When you add that together, it comes to 3. And 369, we've been told this for a long time, that these were going to be really important numbers to us, and how it really attunes with the frequency of the universe. And it just really aligns. By the way, I literally got fresh peppermint, loose peppermint from my co-op the other day. And they try to get as much local as possible. This is probably one of the best peppermint teas I've ever had in my life. It's so tasty. And I put nothing in it. I literally brewed just a little to share with you, and also share my little gift I bought myself. And I really want to talk to you guys about so many things that have been going on. So get yourself a cup of something and some healthy food if you can, healthy food and drink when you can. And let's sit and hang out together. And I'm going through a lot of changes, so you're going to see that with me, where even myself, I can feel my ego that's like, stop putting on airs, or don't be that. I remember one time, I lived in LA for quite a while at this point, and I met up with a bunch of my old friends from the south side of Chicago. And I had all different groups of friends, but this particular group of friends, these were very fucking strong women, all of them. Very strong, very amazing. And a lot of them were related either through blood or marriage or, kind of, relation, like friendships, like long lasting childhood friendships. And over the years, we all came together. A lot of us went to school together, didn't go to school together at the same time, but we ended up where I grew up. You kind of either moved away or you stayed local, or you started working downtown or moved downtown, and so that's what happened. So a lot of us, one person got one job, then we basically all got each other jobs, and we were working when, like, working girl, like that kind of era, that kind of energy. A lot of us were in high school and started working downtown. So our older friends kind of paved the way for us, and we all, at one point, it was so weird, there were so many of us, we were all working in television downtown, which was really fucking cool. And several of us worked together in the same office, and it was called MMT, Major Market Television. And this is when you still had like a go between the television station and the advertisers. So we had such a cool job, and I started this job at like 19 years old. So it really gave me an insight into people and working in a professional environment, but also understanding like what it was like to schmooze, and like liquid lunches and late nights, and inappropriate touching, and people were still smoking in the office when I worked there. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a very, very, very different time. I just turned 54. So you can imagine, right? 35 years ago. Oh gosh, that's so crazy to say that out loud. Or 34 years ago, I guess, technically, because I just turned 24. 54. Who am I? But this is what I'm saying. I'm like, I've been going through so much. I mean, for me, this is like going through a Rolodex of memories in my mind. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, I don't even know. I'm like, but anyway, so I'm going through such a major transition, and I feel like all of you are as well. Whenever I'm going through something, you're also going through something. You always reach out and tell me your side of what you're going through. So, and I also love that, like, I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, I'll retrieve the package. I'll get it going. I mean, just the way that it all happened with Jess's package was so interesting. And then at one point, I kind of got the vibe that they were like, I get the message, like I got the lesson, like, whatever. But also, that's the kind of stuff that I feel like we're all feeling right now and all getting right now, that we understand that like everything in life is a lesson. And it sucks because I was like, oh, dude, I'm like, fight for the money, tell them. Because honestly, like everybody that sent me packages to the address that I am at, like my really close friends and people who have this address where I'm living, if the package didn't, it bounced right back to the post office, like, and they just held it. And that's what they do. That's like the standard. This literally like bounced. It's almost like they kept it in the car and like just like said, okay, and like sent it back to, Nevada. And I was like, this is so crazy. But these are the things that they're showing us. And who knows why? Who knows why? Who knows why? Who knows why? It really like is such a, I mean, you just never ever know why until something happens. And sometimes we are blessed to know, you know what I mean? We get to find out like in the real time of it. We get to like find out and be like, oh, that's why, you know what I mean? Sometimes we don't know, but we just know that there's something out there. And I've been having this with Alder. This has been a really big thing for us. And I think it's part of our programming that like, if we plan things or if we want to do something, because obviously she was like, wanting so badly for me to, receive this beautiful gift, for my birthday. And just a step got missed. But like, she was like, man, I should have listened to myself and blah, blah, blah. And I hope this is okay, Jess. But usually we're all good about like helping each other, our all stars, right? Like, because we're here to teach each other, we're here to learn. And And it was just such a great moment because I've been getting that from spirit lately, that so many of us are ungrounded. That's why they've been pushing for us to go into hermit mode. Not fully, but like the thing I've been getting from spirit is like, go out, come back, go out, come back, go out, come back. And that has been really interesting for me. Like my birthday, we were gone from like noonish till, I don't know, I think he dropped me off at like 8:30. No, I think it might have been almost 10. It was pretty late. And it was an amazing day. It was an amazing, magical day from beginning to end. It was so magical. I've got pictures and video, but I don't have much space on my phone. Oh, 1031, which is Samhain, blessed Samhain, the ancestors, but also it makes me think of Baba, because Baba passed on January 31st this year. I mean, what a way to start my year, right? For my fucking best friend, my familiar, dying right after, you know, the dragons left and like this year the snake came in, but it was all meant to be. And I've been having a lot of hard times, especially the morning of my birthday. Drink some tea. I woke up in the most weird, frazzled state. But the interesting thing was I woke up early. It was like 6:49 when I looked at my phone, but I was born at 7:02 a.m. I'm on the West Coast. I was born in Chicago area, right? So technically I'd already been born, right? So technically it was like my birthday. But it was interesting because I got up and I saw the time and I just wanted to go to the bathroom and go back to bed. And I did. But at that point I was like, oh, it's my birthday. Like I didn't really think about it until I started to fall back asleep. And I was like, oh, yay, it's my birthday. And I started to fall back asleep in a good place. I wake back up and I never really went back to sleep. It was like I went into this like kind of interesting place where I was meditating, healing myself. And I ended up like, I was literally shaking where like I was like, what's happening to me? I'm like, why am I crying? Why am I upset? I kept crying and crying and crying and crying and crying and purging and purging and purging. I keep trying to hide, but my higher self is like, you didn't come here to play small, my love. One of my dearest friends said that, you know, she's like, you know, I don't know what happens after we die. She's like, but I know one thing, we didn't come here to play small, right? We didn't come here to just like go to work, you know, come home, watch TV, do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like over and over and over, be on our phones, read a book, whatever. Like we're meant to be together. And Alder and I met some amazing people. And then we ran into this guy who is this really old school shaman. He's a drum maker. And we ran into him, and it was interesting because we met him in Port Townsend. He lives in Sequim, and we were at a festival in Port Angeles. And if you look on the Olympic Peninsula across the top, they're the three major cities. And I mean, I literally met so many earth angels, and one of them said to me, they're like, you know, you can't hide anymore. Like we need you. Like you need to come out now. You know, like we need you. And I said, I know, I've been pulled to move over here. He's like, we moved here too. And they were telling us their story. And I was like, but we had spent the day in the town. Like, ooh, when I looked up, it was 1332, which is also the number 9. We're in a 9 year, but you know, my birthday was the 13th. But we ended up like having this adventure day that was just so unbelievable. That the way my day started, let's put it this way, there was a moment where I was crying so hard that I was about to text Alder and say, bring somebody else. I'm not going anywhere today. And then there was this moment where the old, oh, I don't know, I may cry. This old version of me was freaking out. She was freaking out. I want to hide. I want to stay here. I just want to cry and be sad. I don't care, you know, whatever. Cause like I barely had any food, you know, like I knew I had to like get some food, and I didn't care. I was just like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then this incredible energy filled my heart. And she said, hey, turn this bus around. Let that dark, icky energy, right? That's not a pleasant sound. Aldo used to laugh because we both would go blah, 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 blah. You know, we like laugh. It makes me think of Miracle on 34th Street when Natalie Wood's, you know, trying to act like a monkey with Santa, and she's like blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I digress. You know, but I was like, sayonara, sweetheart, right? My Asian culture was like, bye bye. You don't live here. You never really did. When spirit called me to go darker in my hair, I didn't realize until I was looking at pictures of myself from my birthday. Sorry, the heater is on me, and I was like, I'm on fire. I know I'm a triple fire in third deacons in Leo, but come on. It's really cold in here. We've been having like 25-mile-per-hour winds, 35-mile-per-hour winds. It's been crazy, but cool, but crazy. But there was just like, my house is shaking. The leaves are flying by, the ones that are left. I started to rip apart the old version of me. And for most of my life, people would say, you look just like your dad, you look just like your dad. And I do look a lot like my father. But as I started to get older, I remember there was this moment where I go, Mom, you and I have the same hands. She goes, oh gosh, I remember when I had that moment with my mother. And on my birthday, my mom and my dad came in. That's why I was a mess. Because I am magic. I've been playing small for a really long time. Most of the time, to either make people feel better or just to hide. Because it's just, you know, you get enough eye rolls, you get enough like, this isn't about you, stop making this about you. I'm at a funeral and, you know, people, friends, family are like, you barely knew that person, or like, you know, why are you crying so hard? You know, you didn't even like them, or there was just always something. And I just took it all in like a little sponge, and I wanted to please everybody so badly. So getting back to my story with my friends, there was this moment where I had been living away from home for a really long time. And some of you may have heard this story, so I apologize if you've heard it, and if you've heard it numerous times, but it's important. So out of our whole group, we all really loved each other, supported each other, and accepted each other. We grew up together, and we became women together. They became mothers right in front of me. But we had one friend who, she was just so angry, wasn't very happy with the way her life turned out. And instead of doing something about it, she criticized. So we were on this outing together, and we hadn't been in an outing together in so many years. I don't even know. This was like one of those, I just happened to be home. By the way, I'm like, I've barely been sleeping, so I know it's looking really rough. I'm okay, I'm healthy. I literally just like haven't been sleeping. And you know, I have one light in here, so don't worry, I'm okay. I know sometimes people are like, dude, are you okay? You're looking a little rough. And not in a mean way, they're just like, what's happening to you? And I'm like, no, it's just called like, you know, going through it. So we were in the car, and I have to drive in the front seat because I get motion sickness really bad. So one of my dear, I mean, we were all really close, but the one that was driving was like one of my closest friends. Like, you know, out of everybody else, like she and I did a lot of things by ourselves, you know, without the group. And so she was driving and I was in the passenger seat, and we went to a baseball game, which was like a big thing for us to do together. We used to love to, you know, go drink. There was like, I don't know how many of us, 5 or 6 of us. And I think there might have been 7, because we had people who met us there too. But when we got there, people were tailgating. It was a little crazy, and the weather was nice. People were acting a little, you know, nutty and drinking and all that. And we were drinking on the way there because, you know, that's what we did. And I actually didn't want to drink, because of that. Like, I was just like, I didn't want to be in the car with them. And I even said to them, like, you guys, we shouldn't be drinking and driving, you know? And the driver was like, I'm not drinking, you know? She's like, who cares? And I'm like, yeah, but it's just like not good for you. And, but anyway, you know, every time I tried to like say, hey, this isn't great or whatever, they'd push back and say like, you know, don't push your bullshit on us, your agenda, you know? At that point, I think I'd been living in LA for, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years maybe. And when we got up to the thing for parking, she's like, man, I really want to park over there. And she's like, if he makes us go there, she's like, fuck, you know, there's got to be another spot, you know? And so I go, let me handle it. And I was always really good with that. So we pull up and the guy's like, okay, ladies, I need you to, and I go, is there any way you can like put us in this parking over here? I said, you know, it was a day game. And I said, she has to pick up her daughter. And they were like, hi. And it was like all women, you know, and we're all beautiful and we're wearing sexy outfits and stuff like that. So we were used to using our wiles, you know what I mean? And so, I got us the good parking, and when she was like, oh, thanks, you know, she put the window up, you know, we have air conditioning and stuff. And my friends were like, oh, dude, they're like, you still got it. And I was like, which not realizing at the time, you know, also so many of them were witchy, right? And wherever two or more gather. So we really were just doing it together. It wasn't just me. But when the window went up, we started to pull away. My friend who likes to be rude and criticize was like, you as well. And she started like, because he was like, have a great time, ladies, and have a good day or something like that. I was like, thank you so much. We're like, I'm like, you as well. I'm like, thank you. And she's like, you as well. And she's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we're Southsiders, like, you know. And she like went into her whole, which I referred to lovingly as Southside Chicago Kelly, because I was born Kellyanne and became, you know, Tallulah. And I renamed myself. But I realized that she didn't like that. She didn't like seeing that I was bettering myself, that I wasn't just speaking in slang and being like, fuck you, bitch, and fuck you, dick, you know, like I was more, you know, reserved. And I mean, I think at that point I was working in politics, and like, I couldn't talk to people, you know what I mean? Like, I had to learn how to rewire and how to become a different person. But then when I would go home to visit, you know, I would just slip back into this character, especially the drinking, partying, you know, the good time Charlie. Like, I would become, speaking of, I'm like, he needs a shout out because he doesn't get it very often. I'm a Charlie in the box. I got my Christmas. If you notice, I've got my Christmas. I'm still in the process. I'm almost done. Normally by now I have like all of my Christmas stuff like completely hung up, and I just haven't been feeling it like that. I've been feeling more of this like really just going with the flow, and it feels more like me. And it's just, you know, it's okay if that pile is sitting there for a fucking week, you know, I'll dust it off, you know, it's okay. So I've just been going through all these things. And on my birthday, my mom was showing me snippets of my life like that, like with my friends and with them, and why Spirit wanted me to go darker. I actually really like myself, at least this time of year. I really enjoy having darker hair. It feels more like me. And I think I've tried all these different colors, but this like you can't really see it right now, but this kind of like dark purple, it just feels so good. And because I still had some like bleached out ends, the ends are like electric purple because it was a manic panic color. But I like it. I feel more like me, and I don't know how to explain it any other way. So my birthday ended up being really magical after I had these breakdowns, and I had to reach out to Alder and say, I am so sorry. I know we said this time, I'm like, but I said, I'll explain later. But so I felt like we were getting a late start, but it just all went the way it was supposed to. And even though it wasn't pleasant, even though it wasn't easy, I purged so much and I felt like that's exactly what was needed. You know, I needed to purge everything before that so that I can really step into my reality. Not the reality of, oh, poor Kelly, she lives in a fucking, I don't know what happened to Kelly. She lives in an RV, I guess, somewhere in Washington. I don't know. She's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what people say about me. I'm just like, my mind can only imagine where that thought process would go with people like my friend who haven't awakened to their heart. And, a lot of what's been happening on the planet is that people, they like, I have these little post-its around to remind me, I'm a beautiful soul. I am magic. I am royalty. We are all royalty in the eyes of the Creator. You know what I mean? I am a millionaire. I am kindness. I am love. I am lovable. If Spirit calls me to, I'll put a link in the description box. Always check out the links. There's things there. If you'd like to contribute also to this channel and the work that I do. And remember that prayer is free. That's all down there. But I do have a Venmo, a PayPal, and an Amazon wish list. So, and thank you in advance for anything that ever comes my way. Thank you. But I realized that there is always going to be that part of me that will live inside of here. And when my shadow gets triggered and tickled, you betcha, she comes out. But she was meant to be that way. I was raised and bred and born and around all of these people to, make me stronger. And I remember when I would cry and that, literally I heard so much in my life, you're too sensitive, stop being so sensitive. It's not about you. I'm like, I cannot stop it. I don't know how to explain it, And even when I told my family and explained like what an empath was, I feel like it's like they're still going to see me a certain way because they can't imagine that good time Kelly, party girl, hey, I'll fuck that guy. Let's go party. Like, I'm independent. I can do what I want. I'm a triple Sag. My moon's in Scorpio. I'll cut a bitch. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, they want her. It makes them more comfortable for her to still be alive. Instead of this person who really loves being grounded, centered, wants to be around community. But I realized that like I still have such a long way to go in so many areas, that I'm excited to like work on. And I realized, I said something to Alder the other day. I said, I remember when I had heard from a very beloved teacher that when you realize that you know nothing is when you've really, evolved. And we were having a lot of conversations with a lot of people on Saturday, and there were certain conversations where I was like, that's interesting. And then when we got in the car, we were having our own, because we've known each other for 10 and a half years, and that's what brought us together. The Tree of Life and the Ouroboros, we were both connected to that. And we were on a well, I don't want to say a dating app. This was when Craigslist, it was still like cool to date people on Craigslist. And but it was also kind of like a sex thing or whatever, but that's not what he and I were looking for. I literally like would normally not even look at something if a picture wasn't there, but it was a picture of the Tree of Life and the Ouroboros, and I was like, that's interesting, because I'd been studying them a lot at the time. So he and I spoke for quite some time, through email, then through text, and then we finally shared pictures. But even then, he sent me 2 pictures. I always laugh about this because he sent me 2 pictures. And one, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was like, who is this guy? I was like, he is so hot, blah, blah, blah. And then he sent me this other picture. I was like, who is this guy? Triple Gemini, moon and Sag. And I was like, he almost looked like he did look like a different person. And I was like, that's so interesting. I'm like, were these taken like a fire party? He's like, no, not really. I'm like, that's interesting. That was like a huge red flag that I didn't realize at the time, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, all is well. Like, that's who he is, that's who he was, and that's who he became. So I've been realizing so much of things that Alder and I are still working through together, things that we are still trying to understand and cultivate about our individuality, and then what that means to come together as a couple. So when I was saying earlier about my mom had brown hair, even though this isn't brown, but my sister and my brother and I had very light hair. My dad had light hair. And then my sister and I carried on like coloring our hair, bleaching our hair, keeping it blonde for years. And I've been all different colors, but anyway, but my mom had dark hair. And so it was kind of interesting. And I feel like now that I have my hair darker, my mom used to wear her hair like this too. Like I'm starting to really morph into my mom, but not in any other way that like it feels good, you know? And then when I'm done with this stage of this, I'm sure I'll move on to whatever. I wanted to wear hats today. I'm like, how can I hide? I looked over because I'm like, I brought a bunch of hats. I'm like, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to, because I like to wear my hats, even my beanie. I brought my beanie and I was like, I want to wear my beanie. They're like, why can't you just like have your, just be you? Why do you have to hide under something? They're like, you don't need to hide. And there's just so much more to talk about. But the festival that we went to on my birthday was called the Wintertide Festival in Port Angeles, and it was up high. This woman, her name is Esther Webster, her and her husband, I think his name was Charlie too. If they call me too, I'll put a link in the description box. But if you're ever in Port Angeles, Washington for the Christmas time, I highly suggest you go, because it was a really cool thing. I don't know if it's something I'll do every year. I would like to, but you know, I always go where I'm drawn to go. I mean, I'd be here next year. But it was really powerful. It was an outdoor light festival at this estate from these artists. They left their estate that's like high up on the hills, because we're right at the base of the Olympic Mountains. The north side of the peninsula is at the base of the north side of the Olympic Mountains. And so they were up high and the view was incredible. If Spirit calls me to, I'll put some pictures in the community section. If you are a subscriber here, you are more than welcome to post anything in the community section. I only ask that it be inspiring, or if you want to share something about what you do. If you're, you know, especially if you've changed vocations, you know, we put Anna, one of our tribe members, her Etsy store, I want to say page and channel, her Etsy store, we had her link on it. Her link is in there as well. Go check it out in the community section for her store. And anything that you're working on, that you're, even if you want to show pictures of something, some artwork you're working on. This was the incredible thing, is that I wanted to get myself something, a nice token, but we only had so much money. And I was like, you know what, this is the time of year where Alder and I just really get really quiet as we're going into, you know, he was born in the spring and I was born in the fall. And so, you know, when it gets to this time of year, his birthday is May 28th. He's like a solar toy. And the closer it gets to winter solstice, the more he just like, it's hard for him to work. And even though we save money and set things aside or whatever, I think we both just assumed we'd, you know, get more work or things would happen. And so, but it's been really cool because it made me realize, like, you know, I get everything I need just when I need it. Like if Jessica hadn't, you know, sent that money, we were going to the festival. We had already bought the tickets. We had saved for that. But I was like, we don't have to eat there. I'm like, we can eat before, we can, you know. And so I used my pendulum, and Spirit had me I made homemade hot chocolate, which was amazing. It was one of the most amazing hot chocolates I think I've ever made in my life. And I was making that with my parents while I was crying and was like, I don't want this to go into it. I'm like, just pour love into it. And I made chopped up apples. I of course cut an apple for my birthday, and I made he's not a huge fan, but I love cinnamon apples, so I made him like a little jar of apples for a snack, and me a cinnamon apple snack. And so I'll tell you really quickly. Okay, so because I really want to get to the presents, and I know I don't have much room on my phone. And if it cuts off, I'll do like a little closure thing. So I'll just put a little shout out there. But just so much has happened. And you guys know I haven't really done any podcasts or anything. I've just really been working, internalizing on myself, which I know is exactly what needed to happen so that I can prepare myself to be the leader that I am for 2026. And I believe that all of the subscribers on this channel, we are all leaders. I feel like that's why we're all here, why we all help each other, lean on each other, push each other up, help each other when it's like, oh shit, it's like, dude, you did awesome. It was meant to happen that way. Like, don't give yourself any, you know, just keep going, keep going, keep going. We are here to be each other's cheerleaders, you know? So anyway, so he picked me up and we were driving, and then I told him everything that happened. And then on our way there, I said, I don't know why, but I feel like we're meant to go there first, if that makes any sense. Because even though like we had hours before the festival, like officially began, because the festival didn't start until 4, and he picked me up at somewhere between 12 and 12:30. And we had plans to, like, he's like, hey, I have this. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Jessica sent money. I'm like, cool. I'm like, we'll have enough to like go out to eat and, really enjoy ourselves. And there was all these other things that were going on. There was like a kinder market. Just honestly, my birthday was like on steroids, because it was the second, I think like the second Saturday probably, right? And there was only, one more Saturday before Christmas in this area. A lot of people celebrate Christmas. So, it was crazy in the town. Like it was crazy everywhere, like just driving everywhere, because we live in these small towns, and there was literally some, like, if not 1 to 3 major things going on in like every little town that day, in terms of like Christmas and things, come see Santa at this farm, you know what I mean? Like, just really cool. And I love that. I mean, a lot of community up here. I really, really love where I live. And so we were driving, and I was like, I just feel like we should go to the festival first and kind of check it out and see what's going on. I said, because it actually opened at 11 this morning, but like to pay to get in to like the lantern, walk, and the like the thing for the light festival. Like they were doing all these things. They had like fire, like, they had jugglers and fire eaters and like acrobats. I mean, it was really cool. Musicians. They had this beautiful market inside. The house was so fucking cool. I mean, the whole house is, seriously, you have to check it out. It was just really cool. And like I said, I'll put pictures in the community section so you can see, but we had so much fun. It was super magical. But when we got there, I saw they were setting up, and this woman came out, and she was holding a bag, and there was like these woods. She like walked out of these woods, and I saw this sign. It says Wintertide, and she's coming down the stairs, and I was like, oh, hi. And I was like, can I trouble you? I'm like, to ask a few questions, So I just asked her, I said, what's going on now? Have you done this before? And she's like, so she ends up like telling me that. And then she's like, well, do you know, there's like all these, like, there's a kinder market, and there's this other thing. And I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. So I didn't want to walk in there. Something told me not to walk inside. I said, I want to be surprised. Like, I want to see it when it's lit up. I want to be here, like at the beginning of the lantern, whatever. And I said, let's go check out these markets, and let's go out to eat. There was this vegan restaurant that I'd been wanting to go to forever. And I was like, let's go there. Long story short, we followed the breadcrumbs and to all these crazy things, like all these crazy things. And we ended up at this kinder market, and there was this Santa Claus there. And when we walked into the kinder market, I don't know how to explain it any other way, is that like I just felt my mom instantly. And it was in the fairgrounds, and it was in like this big, like an airplane hangar, kind of thing, and not quite that big, but pretty big. And the first booth we went to looked like this store that my mom and I used to go to, this vintage store by her house that we love to go to together. And I walked in, I go, oh my gosh, dude. I go, this reminds me of my mom. I go, wow. I go, I really feel my mom today. I'm like, I felt my all of my family, but like I really, really felt my mom. And then as we're looking around, I heard, my mom said, get yourself, like, buy yourself something today, get yourself something. And I was like, no, I'm like, like right now, I'm like, this is gift enough. Like, I'm like, we haven't even gone to the festival yet, and this is super fun. And, I'm like, it was just great. Like the energy was like, it was intense, but it was, fun. And cause they had like baked goods, and like, they had like wineries. It was like all different things. It was like homemade stuff, but then it was like, vintage booths. It was just super cute. It was so beautiful. I had such a good time. So we're walking through the booth, and all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh. I'm like, Alder, and I picked it up, and there was this kaleidoscope, this old school handmade, like total, like stained glass kaleidoscope that was only $40. And I was like, oh my gosh. I go, Mama, one of the last times when I was living in LA, my mom and I went up to Santa Barbara. She loves Santa Barbara. So every time she came to visit, we would go up there. And there was an outdoor I think it's every Saturday and Sunday, or I don't remember anymore, or if they still do it, but back in the day, this was like talking 20 plus years ago. Anyway, we went up there. That's the day we met Steve Martin. That's a whole other story. But anyway, so there was this booth that had these really cool kaleidoscopes, and my mom and I were like looking at them, and they were just really neat. And I remember feeling really regretful that I never bought one. And then one of my dear friends, when I moved to Portland, we were like partying, hanging out at her house, and I think we went into her room or something, and I was like, "Oh, you have a kaleidoscope." I go, "You have like a really cool old school one," and she's like, "Yeah." I go, "Oh man," and I told her about that thing with my mom. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, it was $40, but literally it was like half our budget for the day. And then I was like, oh, but then I'm gonna have to like, so anyway, and I didn't want to haggle with her. I couldn't believe it was $40. When my mom and I looked at them back in the day, like 20 plus years ago, they were like the one that I was looking at, it had the dual ones that turn, you know and if you've ever seen one, you know what I'm talking about. And I think it was like 120, and I didn't buy it because I was like, it was worth it, and I had the money, but I just didn't. And I'd always regretted that I didn't buy that. My mom was always like, man, you should have bought that kaleidoscope. So when I saw that just like randomly in like this vintage booth, I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And so I picked it up and I played with it, and then I gave it to Alder and he played with it, and I was like, dude, I don't. And he's like, it's your birthday. Like, he was like, I'm totally like, you tell me what you want to do. He's like, I have food in my car, and grocery outlet was like around the corner, which is like a low cost grocery store. And he's like, we don't even need to, he's like, whatever. He's like, if you want it, like, do what you want to do. And I was like, let me think about it. So I went and I got her number, and long story short, I ended up not buying it. But, oh, do I have it? I think I have it somewhere. But anyway, I said to her, I told her, I said, can I get your number? If you don't sell it, blah, blah, blah. But I felt like it wasn't meant for me to either buy that day, or it wasn't meant for me. And it was really hard for me to pass it up. But that's what it made me realize about attachment too, was it was really just having that moment with my mom. And like the fact that like I couldn't shop with my mom, you know what I mean? This is why I wear hats. I get fidgety with my hair, and it's something I'm working on. But yeah, so it was really, it was a magical moment, but I knew I wasn't meant to. It wasn't mine. And if it's meant to be mine, I will find her phone number, and if she still has it, I'm gonna go and buy it. Because it was a really pretty one. It wasn't even, and it was one of those like triangle ones that's like, anyway, I've seen them in all different. So I'm gonna jump, because I just realized what's going on. So I'm gonna jump to the packages, and I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of other things, but in the meantime, I'm gonna open packages while we talk. So after that, then we saw Santa Claus, and wait till you see the pictures. I mean, he was like the real thing. And I had this emotional moment with Santa Claus that I feel like I'm still digesting. I didn't realize it was like a paid booth thing. And then like there was this, I was like, oh, are you in line with their child? But I felt like I know that he's a real Santa of some kind, because he saw what was going, because I waved to him and I go, hi, Santa. Like, I was like, the whole day I felt like the little me came out, right? Like, I'm still like my grounded, mature like soul, but like it was like little Kelly got to just be Kelly, and she got to just not have, whatever. Like, I was a little, bummed, because I was hoping that I'd have money to be like, oh, I want to buy this today and I don't want to have any restrictions. But then I realized I didn't have any restrictions. It was just about like, do I need that thing, or is that just enough? It was just that moment with my mom. So when I saw Santa and I saw what was going on, I was like, I don't know how much it is, but I'm like, I don't need it that bad. I'm like, it's okay. And I just went like, bye. I was like, cause I go, no, let her go first. Cause I know what it's like with a little kid. And so it was just like a miscommunication. I was in line. She thought she was in line. And I said, I think I'm next. And the little girl just like kind of looked at me. And it's funny, cause there's this picture, and I'll put it there. There's a picture of the little girl, and she's pointing to me, like pointing to me and Santa, like this. Sorry to point at you guys, but she's like pointing to us. And I swear to God, she looks like Cindy Lou Who. She looked like me when I was little. And I feel like you could do a whole story just around that picture. But it was so cute, because as we were getting ready to leave, I go, you know what, dude, I got to get out of here. I'm like, this, it's so cool, but the energy is too intense. I got to get the fuck out of here. He's like, I was thinking the same thing. So as we started to leave, all of a sudden I heard, hurry, get your camera. And I turned around, and it was fucking Santa. And I'm like, hi, Santa. Like, I didn't even I was like, hi, Santa. And he's like, hi. And I go, it's my birthday today. He goes, oh, it's Santa's brother's birthday today. And I said, well, look at that. And we had this great moment. He never dropped character. And I said, I said, I know you're real. I said, those are real whiskers. He said, yes, they are. And I said, your suit is beautiful. And he goes, thank you, Mrs. Claus made it. And I said, well, it's beautiful. And I could tell he meant it, like his real wife made it. You know what I mean? Like, it was so magical. And I thought, he's like how I'm a medium for you guys. Like, I'm an earth angel or interpreter or whatever for you guys. It's like, he is Santa. Like, he was Santa embodied. And it's like, he picked up on everything. Even though he was sitting far away in the chair, it's like, he kind of like saw what was going on. And it's like, he must have saw the child in me that was disappointed, because I was like, because I said, do you let adults take pictures, Santa? And he's like, absolutely, you know. And so it was just awesome the way it went down. And then I just decided to leave and whatever, and I turned around and I said bye. I was like, thank you. And then it was like, he came up out of nowhere. And he's like, hurry, get your camera out. He's like, he's like, it's very frowned upon for me to do this. He's like, but I just, and he did that without knowing it was my birthday. It was so fucking cool. And wait till you see the pictures. Alter's like, we got this cute selfie, but then I was like, will you take a picture with me and him? And then I didn't even know how to pose, because like, I'm like, should I go fast? And like, Alter just kept like snapping shots. And I was like, I don't care, dude. I'm like, I got a fucking picture with Santa. I mean, on my birthday, when we left, we were just like laughing all the way. And then laughing all the way, ha ha ha, I love it. And then we go to then I was like, you know, I think we should do this, I think we should do that. And there was like another sale going on. I'm like, should we do that? I'm like, we have time. And then I said, let's just go to the restaurant. I go, then we can just relax, and if there's time after, I'm like, we can go, because there was also the farmers market was going on, which goes on every Saturday, and they were doing like a special thing for Christmas. So I was like, oh, I'm like, there was just so much to do. But I'm like, it was really cool because we got to see where we were going. Then we went to like the place to see Santa. Then we were going to the restaurant, and I started to have a fucking panic attack, like a full-on anxiety panic attack. I said, I'm being attacked. And he goes, yep, it's downtown. He's like, this area is just really fucking bad. It's really, 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 really bad. And I said, dude, I gotta get out of here. I go, this sucks. I really wanted to go to that restaurant. I'm like, what are we gonna do? And so he's like, let's just, you know, I go, I just need to get out of here. And he goes, okay. And he goes, let me take you to this favorite place where I like to spend the night. And he's like, it's on this spit, and it's in this like old, like abandoned, you know, area. He's like, but a lot of home free people like myself, you know, go there. We go there. Wait till you see the pictures of that. There's like these wild cats that were living there. And I had this cool moment with this cat that I swear, I was like, can I take you home? I'm like, can I have you? And they wouldn't. I'm running out of time. There's so much to say about it. It was so magical. I will provide pictures and video, I'm sure, on my channels. And so we had that really cool experience. Then I was like, I think we're meant to go. We were barely there 5 minutes. And I was like, I feel like we need to leave and we need to get going. And he's like, okay. So we wanted to go to Grocery Outlet because this time of year, they always have like really good stuff and really good deals. So even though I like to buy as fresh as possible, you know, it's this time of year that, you know, I do go and check out like their canned tomatoes and, you know, things like that, organic and as local as I can get. So we went there. Normally I would have a good time. It was a lull in the day on Saturday. It wasn't even that it was overcrowded, but the energy in there was so, I felt like there were literally like fucking like dark shadows following me around going, get out, get out, get out. Like everywhere I went, I was like, what the fucking fuck? I was like, what is happening? I mean, it got to the point where I was like, I bought like a can of Amy's chili and like some chips, and I didn't even shop. Like I had money, like you know, we decided we were going to set aside like half for groceries and half, you know, to get food. And so I said, I don't care if I get a present, you know, food's more important, right? You know? So when I get in the car, he's like, I could tell he just kind of looked at me like, that's all you got? I go, that's all I had to get the fuck out of there. I go, the energy. He's like, yeah, I know it. I told you, it's like so bad over here. I go, what is happening? I'm like, are we just getting stronger or is this getting worse or both? He's like, probably both, you know? So I'm like, let's get out of here. And I go, you know what? I saw that new Chipotle. I go, I don't normally like to do fast food. I said, but why don't we just grab Chipotle, go back there, because we still had like an hour and like 15 minutes before the festival started, and it was like 15 minutes away. So I was like, why don't we go to Chipotle, get some takeout, and we'll just go up there and we'll have a picnic, because I saw on the thing that they had like fire pits and stuff, and I said, it'll be so cute. I go, we've got the hot cocoa. I said, we still got some apples. Now we've got some chips. They had my favorite chips and my organic chips, which I love too. And so I was like, we'll just have a fucking picnic. It's perfect. I'm like, we were so in high spirits. We get to Chipotle, same fucking thing. We get there, there's no one there. I'm like, oh, cool. It was like a lull, right? Because it's like the festival opened at 4, but the the lantern parade started at 5. So we wanted to get there to make sure we had parking and all that kind of good stuff. So I was like, this is perfect. It was like 3:15 or 3:30 or something. And I said, this is perfect timing. We are walking in, and as we're walking in, this van pulls up of a family. And I'm talking like big people. And I'm not saying in a rude, no, I'm talking tall. Like the mom and dad were really tall, and they were like 3 sons. Like I was like, holy shit. It was like lumberjacks just all got out of the car. You know what I mean? They were beautiful, but it was like this big family, you know. The dad was a little burly, you know, but still, I mean, I was like, holy shit, you know. And I didn't know what I wanted, and I'd never been to a Chipotle like this, and I had heard that they'd been bought out, and I was like, dude, it was nothing like the Chipotle. The last time I'd been to Chipotle was a few years ago, and like they were making the guacamole in front of you. This was like all corporate and weird, and it looked gross. Like all the food looked like it had been sitting there for hours. I said, oh, I don't know what I want. I said, I wanted, I was so excited. I knew exactly what I wanted when we got there. But when I got in, I was like, oh no. I was like, like the vegan meat looked just rancid, and it just looked fucking gross. And I said, I would rather eat Amy's fucking chili out of a can for my birthday than fucking pay $15 for that. And I'm not doing it. And I said, but if you want a burrito, I'm like, you fucking go for it, dude. He's like, I could tell he was like frozen with fear, like, you know, and not in a mean way, but he was just like, okay, like, is she going to regret that? You know, I could tell like he was going through his mind, like, you know, and I said, no. I go, honestly, I just have this feeling we need to trust spirit that they're going to have food that we can eat up there, because it's a festival. But they said on there, like they put like the contributors, but I'm like, I don't know what they serve. I didn't research it. I wasn't called to research it. So I was just like, we just have to trust that they're going to, whatever. Holy shit. He decides, you know what? I'm with you. I've got chili too. He's like, fuck it, we'll just have chili. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, let's just do it. So we decided, like, let's just go do our thing. We get there, and I heard, let's just go in. So we went in, and this place called Pacific Pantry, owned by a couple. Dude, I had this vegetarian platter. The pita bread was made that day. He's like, I made it this morning. Everything was like either vegan or gluten-free. They had meat things, but like they had this tomato soup that was unbelievable, that was vegan. And they only had like 5 or 6 things on the menu, but it was like a vegan platter, which I got. And then it was like a grilled cheese and tomato soup, which he eats cheese. I just can't eat cheese, but he still eats cheese. So I'm more vegan than him. But it was like, we ended up having this amazing meal. We met these amazing women. We sat by the fire on these like cool fireplace things. And then the rest of the night was just pure magic, literally. And I mean, I think with tip, it was like $30, and we had this amazing food from scratch, local. I was so grateful. It was just such amazing experience. So at the end of it, the little shop, I didn't get to go into the market because I was too busy doing all the awesome things that were going on in the woods and the shows and the music performances and this magical creature, which I just got her card. Her name is Sarah Shea. And she's Shay's Jazz. I got her card. She's like, I know it's crazy. It's like my last card in my purse. I'm like, that's okay. I left one of the shows. I had to pee so bad. And when I was coming through to go to the bathroom, she was singing. She wasn't there before when we were eating. And we just had this connection. I can't even explain it. It was just so cool. And she was like, hi. I'm like, hi. And she's like on her microphone, and there's like people, she's like singing to people. And I don't even know what we said to each other. It was just so cool. And then she was like taking a break, you know, in between like her songs or whatever. And she goes, and her son was there. And I started talking to her son. He was a pistol. And then I said, I can't even believe I'm doing this. I felt possessed. And I said, would you sing happy birthday to me? And she's like, absolutely. And so it was so cute. And her and the band saying happy birthday to me. And then like, while she started, I like started to hit record, and I have some of it, and she was just like this magical angel. And so I have to email her videos. But anyway, it was just a magical experience. And so after I came out of the bathroom, I went to the market, and I was walking around, and they were closed. The festival was wrapping up. It was getting to the end of it. And we had so much money, but I was like, I just feel like I want something. I don't care if it's a magnet. I just feel like I need something. And we came around to the pottery, and I've been wanting a new mug really, really bad. And something like this, because I've been drinking out of these little jars that I have, these vintage, little glass jars. But when it's hot, it hurts your hand. So I had to keep like putting something on it or wait until it was too cold. And I was like, I like just holding something. I don't really care about a handle. I like holding it like this. And it felt very ceremonial. And long story short, I ended up buying this for myself. And it was kind of in her like cast off department. And I saw mugs. There was like at least 3 vendors that had mugs, like handmade, beautiful, like exquisite. I mean, just cool, like octopus, like tentacles coming out. I mean, just cool fucking shit. Like, a lot of Native American art, because we have a lot of tribes up here. The whole peninsula is very much, reservations and tribes. And so there were just so many things. And it was this little, I felt like that moment at the end of Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, where he's like, choose the cup that Jesus would drink out of. He's like, choose wisely. It's like they had all these fancy ones. And here was this one, just simple. Nothing fancy, but I loved it. And I was like, I think I really need to have this mug. It was $10. Handmade and glazed and beautiful. But I know when I used to do pottery, like it was almost like a little cast off section that she had. It was kind of fun. And I actually wanted the one that was imperfect. And when I went for that one, I was like, I think that's the one I want. And I was using my pendulum, and the spirit was like, no, they were really adamant about which one I grabbed and whatever. And long story short, they were like, no, it's because you went for the imperfect one that this was the only one that was like kind of perfect. And that's the one that I got. Just like my night was perfect. So I think both of these arrived on my birthday, and I was going to open Anna's first. That was my goal, was to open Anna's first, and open Jules last, because Jules doesn't really watch these all the time. What did I do with the scissors? Hold on. Oh, I can't pause it because hold on. Oh, here's my pendulum. Oh, there they are. I was like, what did I do? So that was that. And I'm sure I'll tell you guys more about it like over time, but like it was just really powerful. Even this. So I had, these sent to the post office. And when I went to go the other day, if Jules, and she doesn't always do that, she sent me a picture of the box. Obviously, I'm not going to show you her address and stuff, but she sent me a picture of the box. She's like, hey, this is your package, because it was sent general delivery to Port Townsend, right? And so it was so funny because they know me there, because I've picked up quite a few packages now. And one of the guys, he comes back with Anna's package, and I go, there was just one? And he's like, yep. And I go, are you sure? I said, I don't mean to question you, but I said, I'm almost positive that my other package is here. And they had put him in like a staging area because it was an overflow. And he's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. He's like, thank you for observing that. And even that day, like the way that things were going, we wanted to do things differently, to run errands, and you know what I mean? So it's just like a lot of things I've just been getting these signs from spirit lately that just to slow down and like really recognize like, who we are and what we're doing here and why we're here, and not to, oh my God, I think I almost set my sock on fire. I'm like, oh, that's hot. Oh, my little piggy. Anyway, but I saw it. It had my my original name, Kelly Varma. That's what's still on my ID. And you have to show your ID to pick up a package now, right? So I saw it. It was sideways. And if she hadn't sent this picture, I don't even know if I would have thought to look there. And I saw it sideways. I saw Varma and I saw the paper. And I was like, that's crazy. I'm like, dude, that's so fucking rad. I'm like, and I go, and when I went to have him look, I had to wait in line. This lady came up and she goes, just so you guys know, she goes, where you're at now, it took me 40 minutes to get through this line. Because when we got there, I was like, oh, shit. And it was on Tuesday at like 3 in the afternoon or 2:30 or something. And I really thought that it was going to be not so bad. Oh my gosh. There was like a line, and we live in a small town, so that's like not normal for us. It was pretty fucked up. But anyway, long story short, I ended up, I saw him going in another direction, and I turned around and I see there's like 20 people like waiting, and they're all looking at me, and I'm like, they had 2 people, and then they picked up a third, but then the second one kind of went behind. So like he was looking for something and she was off doing something. It was just one person. It was like all these people. And I'm like, I turned around and I was just like, let me handle this. And I go, this lady, like I caught her and I go, hey, I go, can you grab him? I said, I know he just went the other way. I said, I can see my box. It's right there. And I said, there is a long line of people here waiting, and I don't want him to waste one more minute, you know, looking for that when I'm literally seeing it right there. Can you grab him? And she's like, oh yeah. But it was like the way it all went down was like so cool. And like, and I turned around and I said, you know, when I was, you know, done, he and I were like, oh, happy holidays, blah, blah. And then I said, happy holidays, everybody. And I felt like I was in like, It's a Wonderful Life or something, because most of the people that live here are like older and retired. So it was just like this great moment where, you know, you seen people's faces who were like, oh, like waiting in this crazy line to like, all of a sudden they were like, oh, Merry Christmas. They're like, oh, cool. Thanks for, they're like, woohoo, you did it. Like, it was funny, you know, it was just like a really great moment. And I feel like there's just something about that right now, that Spirit wants us to start looking at things in a completely different way, you know, and acknowledging that people's time is precious, and that people, you know, everything happens, you know, for a reason. Everything happens the way it's meant to. And even if we don't know why or understand, you know, there's a reason for it. Okay, so I want, oh my gosh. Okay, so this is really funny because I have this deck, and Jules does, you know, what I do. And so I know she sometimes will catch my channel, but she definitely doesn't watch it, or she's not like how you guys like the All Stars, where you guys like hardly ever miss an episode. And it's not for any other reason that she's got her own business and she's married and she has 3 children. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and because like I'll tell her a lot of things that'll happen in there, or if like I'm really drawn to a reading for her, you know, she doesn't really do a lot of readings for herself, you know. But anyway, this is one of the first decks I ever got, was Moonology, but it's so skinny. So I'm kind of like a little like, because it's so weird. It says the energy of the moon has a formidable effect on our everyday life. Use these gorgeously illustrated oracle cards to tap into her ancient wisdom for healing, guidance, and protection. And oh shit, I'm so sorry, you guys. I just realized I just did that. I'm so sorry. I was trying to get in here to read it. I apologize. And learn how to work with her magical energy during each lunation. The accompanying guidebook reveals how to interpret the cards. Hold on, I'll come this way. And how to work with them to create, plan, and excuse me, predict your life. Whenever you need to make an important decision, just pick a card and let the moon guide you. So this must be a new version of it, because I have like the thick deck, but this is what's so interesting, is that I have been thinking about getting rid of some of my decks. I've been thinking about, like, not in a like getting rid of them, but like doing like a thing with you guys, you know, like where I pick a random, you know, person, you know, like from numerology, from Spirit or whatever, and, you know, to send you like a gift. So it's kind of interesting, because this must be, oh my gosh, yeah, it's like a really small, it's kind of weird. It's like a small hand version. I have the like thicker card version. So that's so interesting, Jules. She must not know. I mean, obviously she doesn't, you know what I mean? But, and it's okay, like no biggie. But yeah, they're like, you know, you guys know I've used this deck. In fact, Jessica, you bought me the Moonology Manifestation. But if Jules saw my list, I mean, I don't have it on there, but okay, so let's see. So this says, oh, your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn. I feel like this is a message for all of us. Spirit is saying, for all of our hard work, the new moon in Capricorn. And that makes a lot of sense. Also, have faith in your dreams. Do you want to pull any more? No. Okay. So that's interesting. So either Spirit will have me move this deck on, or I will keep this deck and move my old one on. I do kind of like that these are smaller, but the other one, like, see how this one's kind of like, see how it's slick? My original one is like matted, and it's a little fancier, but I mean, whatever Spirit wants me to do. And Jules is like me in the fact that, you know, she'll, like, if I was like, dude, I was meant to pass those on, she'd be like, cool. You know what I mean? She wouldn't be like, I paid for those for you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that kind of like people in my face. Okay, hold on, hold the phone, because right now I'm freaking out a little bit, because if this is what I think it is, but I don't want to get excited if it's not. Oh my gosh, it is. Oh my gosh. So Jules used to work for doTERRA, and I don't know if she's still like what she does with them, but she was like super high up with doTERRA, like really high up. But she stepped aside to step into her role as more of this, and it's totally her calling, because she does very well, because that's what she's meant to do, right? But this is, thank you, Jules. Like, oh my God. Like, she and I both know like how fucking amazing this is. This is not cheap. And Jules is really blessing me with this amazing gift. It's so, oh my gosh. Like, this will go away. This will go away. This will no longer be that. Oh my gosh, Jules. Oh my gosh, you don't even know. Like, this to me might as well be like $1 million, because that's how fucking good this stuff is. And I've been getting much better about my, you know, taking better care of my skin and my health and all that. I did forever. And then, you know, over the last few years going through the shadow stuff, I really just kind of let it go a lot. So I'm getting back to loving myself, taking care of myself, doing what feels good for me, not what I think I should do, but what like actually will look good. Ooh, this feels like soap, and I need new soap. So, oh my gosh, it's oils. Oh my gosh. Oh, dude, she sent me myrrh. Oh my gosh, she sent me myrrh. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe she sent me myrrh. I have always wanted myrrh. Another one that's like not, oh my gosh, I can't. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm not meant to open it right now. Okay, but oh my gosh, she sent me myrrh. Jules, she spoils me. What's this one? Oh, it's the Holiday Peace Blend. Oh, I love these. So they only have certain ones that come out certain times of the year. Oh, dude. Oh, it smells like balsam trees. Oh, or maybe it's a Douglas, whatever this is. I'll get the details. Oh man, I wish we had smell-o-vision. Oh, Jules. Oh, Jules. Oh man, this is some special stuff. Oh wow. I feel like this is meant for me. Either I'm gonna, no, they're like telling me to leave it alone. Okay. Wow, dude. We haven't had like a, I don't know what she's sending me. Like, she hasn't sent me a box like this in a while. Like, you know, we both like, you know, we have our things. And I mean, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys something. I actually have been putting together packages for like my all-stars and like my really close friends. Like, I've been putting things together ever since I started harvesting like lavender and rosemary, you name it, especially the mugwort. And Spirit told me no. So I don't know if it's something that I'm going to do next year, or if it's something that it's, I don't know. Maybe it's individual. Maybe it's for birthdays. I don't know. Because Anna just had a birthday, and I was putting a package together for her birthday. Anna, just, you know, I really was. I was putting something together for Anna, and it was like a week before Thanksgiving, and I heard no, and I was like, oh, okay. So you want me to send it for Yule? You know, I was like, okay, perfect. I'll send packages for everybody for Yule, you know. Nope. So you'll get your things when you're meant to get them. For my people, you know who you are. Oh my gosh, she sent me more oils. Dude, spearmint. I'm late. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, Jules, you don't even know. Oh my gosh, sister. Oh my gosh, cassia, which is like, cassia is actually really awesome, and I prefer, like, I have cinnamon, but cassia is like cinnamon's, like, I always say cassia is like cinnamon's shy, more timid sister. Oh, because it smells like cinnamon, but it's not like biting. It's just like a it's an essence. And I think it's because I think one's from the leaves and one's from the stem or the cinnamon bark. It's something like that. I think the cinnamon bark is the really strong one. Anyway, I'm like, like I can't even believe this. I didn't even know. I had no idea. Dude, DDR Prime. This is one of my favorites. Like, this is one that I've been feeding it. Like, so a lot of my oils, they're pure, right? So when they get like halfway, sometimes like this far, I'll throw in some other oils, whatever, whether it's MCT coconut oil or olive oil or, you know, even avocado oil. They've had me do that sometimes too. I will throw in oil to like make it last longer because this is like pure. I mean, you can see, you know, it's like, it's liquidy, but when you put the oil in, it's a carrier. So some of these you really need a carrier. I can't fucking believe she gave me myrrh. I've wanted myrrh for, this feels like old Jules. And I mean that in a good way. Like, cause when if you guys remember, those of you who know, who've been with me for a long time know, like I used to get these boxes from Jules all the time. In fact, I had one of my friends who was like, dude, she also like worked with oils, but she worked with, not doTERRA, but the other one. And she was looking at my collection and she was just like, you have like thousands of dollars worth of oils here. I'm like, I know. I'm like, Jules spoils me. If she got something for free, she would send it my way. Like, cause she was so high up. Oh my God, there's more. If there's, okay, so there's one in here that I pray is in here. If it's not, it's okay. Cause we have a local person. It means I'm meant to buy it from her. You know what I mean? But I have been wanting to buy a few oils and Spirit has told me no. So there are 2 oils, but there is one right now that I am praying is in here. And if it's not, that's okay. I'm going to buy it from her, but from my local lady, but we'll see. Oh, peppermint. Oh, and I just said peppermint tea, but no, this is another good one. Another really, I mean, come on, Jules. She really hooked me up. You hooked a sister up, girl. Oh my gosh. Look at, here comes Southside Kelly, right? She's just like, oh my gosh, here we go. Oh, cedarwood. Oh, this is another one that like, I used to tell her, don't send me cedarwood. I used to tell her all the time, don't send me cedarwood because I get real cedar from here. I'm going to turn my heater down. And we have, you know, a lot of you, if you've been blessed to receive cedar from me, you know, I harvest cedar. When I go into my deep hikes into the old growth forest, like, you know, there was a tree that was 400 or 500 years old that fell and Spirit told me that it was okay for me to harvest from that. And so many people, like I sent Jules a chunk and she was just like, dude, I know what you mean now. I understand why you tell me not to send the oil because there's no comparison. Like when you smell, like when you burn and smell old ancient cedar and then cedar oil, they're just different. However, I started really using the cedar oil because it's good for like bug repellent and like all these other things. And I actually really like the oil as well. They're just different. So this is so exciting. Okay, I don't know what the last one is and I won't be disappointed, but if it is, I'm going to be really excited. But oh no, but this is a really good one too. It's wild orange. So I thought it would be frankincense because frankincense is like one of my favorites and it's just like the grand dame, but it's very expensive. And this is like, I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe she's still selling on the side. And again, I'm worth it. I know that. Thank you, Jules. But do you hear how I'm working through the poverty consciousness of like, oh my gosh, my dear friends, like this is like, cause I just know how much things are. But at the same time, I know that she would be like, I love you. You're worth it. Like, don't do that. You know what I mean? So Jules, thank you. 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 I am either out completely or like at the very last remnants of almost all of my oils that Jules ever gave me. I've bought a few things that I had to, right? And I do have a frankincense castor oil blend that I use. It's got this collagen thing in it that I use on my face, but I've been wanting straight frankincense. And there is a lady in town and I know that she has it and I have been wanting to go to her shop. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I feel like Jules gave me exactly what I needed from her. And now I'm going to go and support that lady and get her frankincense and I was going to say lavender oil. I make my own lavender oil now, but, you know, it's got to like, there's a lot of things I have to do. So of course I'm always like, it's like fast food, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, I can do the real stuff that I have, but it's really nice when it's just here and accessible when you need it. You know what I mean? So, oh my gosh, Jules, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, there's a card. You know what? The card was hidden So I feel like I'm going to keep this card for me and Jules. Like I'm going to open this later and then I'm going to call her. So I'm going to keep that to the side. So let's move on to Anna. Anna. Oh, and also I had it in my cute little, like my red sack bag when I went to the post office. But yay. So same thing. I want to keep Anna's. I want to make sure I don't have Anna's address. Oh, look at this. It's got my birthday on there, Anna. Also, I want to tell you guys something really funny. The funniest part about this package is that Anna gave me the tracking number so I can, you know, keep a hold of it, right? But it's coming from the UK. Those of you who don't know, Anna lives in England. And so, in fact, I was just going to say, is it on here? You know what? I was going to say your town, but you know what? I'm not going to. No, yeah, we're good. Anyway, she lives in the Midlands, I believe, is what they call it. And, as one of our other tribe members lives in the Midlands as well. And anyway, long story short, it sat in New York for like a week, but all those storms were happening and stuff. And I was like, that's okay. Because I totally believe in Gandalf that a wizard arrives exactly when they're meant to, right? But the greatest part about it was it was in Jamaica, New York. And I've wanted to go to New York and tried to go to New York many, many, many times. And I've always wanted to go to Jamaica. And so I just thought it was like the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, I love that my package got to go to New York. My package got to hang out in New York, in Jamaica. And I understand that Jamaica is in New York, but you know, anyway. So thank you, Anna. And look at, now I can just, it's perfect. Now I can just do this without worrying about that. So thank you. Actually, I love the way you did this because I could just take it out of that packaging that's been going everywhere. It's the same with Jules. It was like nice that the box was separate. And just open it freely without having to concern myself with someone's address being leaked. It's none of anybody's beeswax. Okay. Oh my gosh, Anna, you guys know I love packages from all of you guys, but like Anna, you just, oh, you always just do things in a way that are, I just want to make sure I got everything. You just do things in a way, oh my gosh, that are just so awesome. What is this? Oh my gosh, I'm already like, what is happening? Okay. So many good things. So many good things. Okay. They're saying hold off on the card for a second. So we've got mudras, which is something that honestly Alder was working with and I started working with and I stopped. Perfect, Anna. This is so good for the tribe. This is so good for all of us. Thank you and happy belated birthday to you, sister.